Watching Thierry de Montbrial organize this conference reminds me very much of one of the highest moments in American culture. And by that, I refer to the comic strip, the bande dessinée Peanuts, in which there is an adorable character, a beagle named Snoopy, who is seated atop his doghouse with a typewriter. And in the first panel, you see Snoopy writing out, "It was a dark and stormy night," the beginning of a novel. And in panel 2, Snoopy is writing, "A shot rang out." In panel 3, it begins, "Meanwhile, in Moscow, the Tsar was ailing." Panel 4 is, "A hurricane has just flattened Topeka, Kansas." Panel 5 is, "The pearl divers in Tahiti were in a foul mood." Then Snoopy looks up from his typewriter and with a wolfish grin says, "In chapter 2, I tie all of this together." Now that's exactly what Thierry does with these conferences. In introducing such a variety of divergent characters to his plot and topics. And so we come now to the topic of development and security. In some ways, the most important word in there is "and," because it's important to understand that you can have one but not without the other. I think we've heard over the last 2 days indications that that's certainly the point, really, of the Arab Revolution. That you can have security for a while, but if you don't have development, you won't have security for very long. And of course, it goes the other way. You need an elemental level of security to be able to accomplish development. So that's the topic that we're going to look at here today. Certainly, it seems to me that the global financial crisis has reminded all of us, all citizens everywhere, of their need for a certain level of protection that only national governments and increasingly international organizations can provide. It's difficult to understand exactly how those interact in a period where there is so much frustration over the problems that big government and big business have helped engender throughout the world. But that element of protection is increasingly evident and important. We have 2 speakers to address these interjoined topics here today, and they are the perfect people to have to tie all of this together. I'll give you a brief introduction and then turn the podium over to them for about 7 to 8 minutes of remarks, if that's agreeable. The first speaker is M.K. Narayan, who many of us have met in his capacity as National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister of India. Today, he is the governor of the state of West Bengal, and I think his trajectory is an important commentary in itself on the relationship of development and security, because he oversees a region of very volatile politics and of increasing security problems in many areas that he's had a chance to deal with. Our second speaker will be Yuri Fedotov, who is the Executive Director of the UN Office on Drugs and Crime and Director General of the UN Office in Vienna since 2010, after a distinguished career as a diplomat. I think they can both help us understand the relationship between development and security, and here we really begin to depart from the abstract theory of foreign policy and global governments into the real granular topic of crime, its impact on development, its impact on society. MK, if you would start us.